Am I the a-hole for telling my fiancé if I see her friend again, I'm calling the cops? Plus update. Me, 29 male, and Erica, 27 female, dated for 2 years and have been engaged the last 4 months. After we got engaged, Erica moved into my house. I still pay the mortgage, while she pays for utilities, groceries, and household items. After we get married, the plan is to put her on the house so she gets equity as well. Her friend Leah, 27 female, and her have been best friends since high school. I don't particularly like Leah, but I've also been cordial as I know she's gonna be in my life. My issue is Leah thinks of my home as hers. Couple examples. She always brings her boyfriend over and he's a sketchball. She talks to me in a very disrespectful way in my own house, like I'm a guest, and she/Erica own it. One day I went out to my garage and some of my tools were missing. I checked my camera and Leah/boyfriend were in my garage with Erica and took some tools with them. I asked Erica and she said they were just borrowing and would return them. I had to reach out multiple times for them to finally return the tools weeks later. I have a nice wine/liquor collection and I was working late on Friday. While working, I heard some clanking of bottles together. Erica wasn't home, so I went out to see what was up. Leah was behind my bar. I asked what she was doing, and she said Erica told her it was okay to borrow a bottle of wine for her party and that she would pay it back. I told her no, that was not alright, and to leave. I asked Erica about this, and she said, I don't remember telling Leah she could take a bottle, but I might have, I don't remember. I told her at this point I wasn't comfortable with Leah being in my house. Erica sort of understood, but she also blew me off. Final straw came when I wanted to go hit some golf balls and my clubs were missing. I freaked out because I golf regularly and my clubs are my biggest investment. Went to check the camera again and Leah used my garage code and took the clubs. I blew up, called Erica and told her to get them back immediately. Erica said Leah had asked for the garage code to grab some clothes from her closet, and not my clubs. I threatened to call the police but Erica stopped me. Leah kept telling us that her boyfriend needed them for a work thing. I got them back almost 4 days after they were taken and they were dirty. At this point, I sat Erica down and told her that if I see Leah in my house again, then I'm calling the cops. No discussion. Erica got upset saying that it's her best friend and that it wasn't fair to do to her in our house. I said it's a pattern, and since Erica's stuff isn't affected, she doesn't care. I said she can go over to Leah's if she wants to see her. She said she can't do this because Leah doesn't like her apartment, and Leah's boyfriend is always there, which makes Erica uncomfortable. I'm now getting the silent treatment and getting called an a-hole, but I don't think I'm doing anything wrong. Am I? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Do not put this woman on the deed to your home. Heck, don't marry her. You don't have a Leah problem. You have a fiancé problem. Time to move on, buddy. Not the a-hole. I agree. OP, open your eyes. Agreed. Erica is allowing this to happen. There are a lot of boundary issues that shows as red flags. The fact that Leah has her code and lets herself in without letting anyone know is a problem. And you can truly see that Leah does not give a single damn. She got outed multiple times on camera, got caught nicking a bottle of wine, and did not care. Leah does not respect the OP. Plain and simple. And Erica is fully endorsing this behavior in their house that she does not own any part of. I'm starting to think Leah did, in fact, have Erica's permission to take that bottle. Erica just backpedaled and threw her friend under the bus when Opie got upset. I wouldn't be surprised if Leah also thought she had permission to borrow the clubs. After all, we know Erica gave her the key/code and gave permission to borrow the tools. Either way, neither of the ladies have boundaries. But this sounds like an Erica problem. Also, I would keep copies of the security footage, just in case, and change the garage code. Already have done these things, but thank you for the advice. I won't give Erica the new code. She has the clicker to get in and out, but I'm not comfortable giving her the code until this whole situation works itself out. If you can't trust your fiancé with your security code, you guys should see someone together before you get married, and have a lot of discussions on your future and how you both see things. And now for the update. I want to thank you all for the kind words and comments. I knew after reading the comments that it was time to come to a resolution. I decided to drive home from work and talk with Erica. When I showed up, Leah's car was parked in the drive. I went inside and they were watching TV. I told Leah immediately to get out. She tried to argue, but I told her if she didn't, then I'm calling the police. Erica tried to get pissy that I kicked her friend out, But I said I'm done talking about Leia because at this point, nothing is changing with that relationship. Sat Erica down and showed her this post. 20 minutes of reading later, I asked her what she thought. She said, "Those people don't understand our relationship or Leia." I knew then that it was over. I asked her to hold out her hand and I took the ring off. She begged, saying she's sorry and she'll cut Leia off, etc. I told her I can't even trust her with a garage code. How am I supposed to trust her as my wife? She's locked herself in our room now and I'm in the kitchen packing up her things. I called her mom and dad telling them about what has happened, and they were furious. Leia's apparently banned from their house. It has been since high school. I didn't know this, but her parents said it's been like this since high school. They're coming this weekend to get Erica and the stuff. I couldn't be any happier than I am right now. A huge weight feels lifted off my shoulders. I felt like if I never made this post, I wouldn't have ever seen how messed up my life had become. Sincerely, thank you everyone. Can't wait to take my clubs out and play around now that I have more free time. Really excited to see what single life brings and can't thank you all enough again. Next story. Am I the a-hole for calling my girlfriend inconsiderate for the way she tested me? My girlfriend told me that she tested me by canceling a date when we first started to go out. It was the date where we were kind of planning to hook up for the first time. For context, she lives in the city while I have an hour drive. She waited until I was halfway to the city before canceling. I remember texting her as I got into the car and telling her I was on my way, and she still waited until I was halfway to the city. She had a lot of opportunity to cancel before I had driven half an hour. The date being canceled sucked, but she told me she was feeling sick, and I told her it was okay and told her to get better. I had also asked her if she wanted me to come over, and she said she didn't want to. She told me that it was a big moment for our relationship as she found that I'm very considerate. But honestly, I get why she wanted to test me, but I really am pissed off in the way she tested me. She had no consideration for my time and effort. It was as if she really wanted to inconvenience me to see how I would react. I told her that it was pretty inconsiderate to wait until I had driven halfway to cancel, and she had been really inconsiderate in the way she tested me. She apologized half-heartedly and then said it was not a big deal and it has been 4 months. I told her it was a big deal to me, and we had an argument about it. I feel like an a-hole because it feels a really small thing to get mad about. Not an a-hole. The fact that she isn't remorseful at all, that's your second red flag. The fact she's made you feel like the a-hole for being rightfully upset, that's your third red flag. This chick is a manipulative, gaslighting trouble box. I think you were right. Dear God, I'm dating another version of my ex. It's pretty bad when the administrator of the relationship test miserably fails it themselves. Even worse when they fail to allow for the possibility that the other person might actually be dissatisfied with them. She should have kept quiet about her little test. Your behavior on that day was appropriate and considerate. Good for you. Obviously, you passed. But now, going forward, when anything comes up, you may be wondering, is this a test? And is this a test? And is this a test? Because yeah, it might be. You need to have a little discussion about this. This is not a small thing to get mad about. Not the a-hole. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for buying a door to my son behind my husband's back? For those who might have been confused, my 35 female husband 46 male believes that until he is 18, our son male 14 shouldn't conceal his room as he is under our care. This has been one of the things straining our relationship lately, as I think that a teen should have some freedom. Maybe not completely out of our sight, but you know, a door at least. But my husband keeps insisting on him having almost no freedom at all. Whenever I bring up the door thing, he just shuts me down with, this is what it'll take him to be a man, and this is how I was raised. So, both my son's birthday and Christmas are coming up, and I decided that he should finally have a door to his room. So I went behind my husband's back and bought a new door, and heard it to be installed while they were both away. When my son came from school, he was incredibly delighted, but my husband didn't receive the news so well. He told me that this is not the kind of decision that I should be making by myself, and that I disrespected his authority, and now he's refusing to even sleep in the same bed as me. I've been wondering if this should have been a conversation rather than me disrespecting his wishes. So, am I the a-hole for going behind my husband's back to get a door for my kid? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. Your husband is super controlling. Scary, frankly. Not only this, but it's mistreatment. When CPS found out I wasn't allowed a door that just had a curtain, and that my mom's boyfriend would sneak down the stairs unexpectedly to yank open at random intervals, it almost caught me naked while I was changing a few times. They went off. Not only is it maltreatment, it's a fire hazard. If you have a house fire, your son has nothing to stop that fire from entering his room before it can get out his window, which would likely result in either massive bodily injury due to burns and smoke inhalation, or at worst, death. The husband is mistreating and putting his son at risk. Some kind of man he turned out to be. Edited to add, please find a safe way to live with your son. Frankly, I'm worried that things will escalate in the way he treats the both of you if you continue to stand up for yourself with your shiny new spine OP. I don't want you trapped in a home with a violent person. No one deserves that. Not stay home. Your husband was the one who made the decision to not let him have a door, without your input, and now you've shown him what that's like, and he doesn't like it. My question is, why have you stayed so long with a man who treats your son this way? Yes, this feels awful. And frankly, I have an insane amount of resentment for any man who seems to think he automatically has authority and dominion over his home as the ultimate ruler. BS. Opie's not a-hole for getting him a door. But if she doesn't realize that this is going to be a never-ending battle in his teens, and that he's going to leave and not come back once he turns 18 unless they get their act together, she's got some very rude surprises coming. Not stay home. There are bigger issues here than the door, which is already a big issue. I believe not having door or any right to privacy is maltreatment. I'm sorry your husband was brought up in an awful home, but that doesn't give him the right to mistreat your son. You had your son at 21 when your husband was 32. That's a concerning age gap. And when it's combined with your husband constantly shutting you down, punishing you and your son for disrespecting his authority, and you feeling the only way you can have a say and do something for your child is by sneaking around your spouse, it all combines to worrying conclusions. I'm worried your husband has an unhealthy totalitarian head of household mindset. There is no excuse, be it upbringing or religion, for his behavior. Think about if the status quo is really what you want for yourself and your child. Last story. Am I the a-hole for canceling a vacation with my fiancé and taking my daughter on a vacation? My daughter Maya, 16, has severe anxiety. She goes to therapy and is on medication, but we still can't push her too hard on certain subjects like school. I've always had a policy that as long as she tries her best and passes, I'm happy. My fiancé has been encouraging her to work harder and get better grades. She usually gets B's and C's, so she could get into a good college. I've always shut it down because she plans on going to community college, then wants to transfer to a local state school and her grades are fine for that. My fiancé made a deal with Maya behind my back that if she got straight A's this semester, he'll take all of us to Disneyland for her birthday. But if she gets a B, she gets nothing. He told her that if I knew about this, I wouldn't let him take us to Disneyland. Maya has been dying to go, so she stayed quiet. I noticed that she's been a lot more stressed out over the past couple months, but she just kept telling me that the classes this year are a lot harder than the past few years. And I know your junior year is supposed to be one of the hardest, so I believed her. Last week was study week before finals, and on Friday, she broke. She broke down crying about how she couldn't do this, and told me about the deal she made with my fiancé. I was livid when I found out. Maya has been a wreck since then. She's barely speaking, doesn't eat much, and has asked me to sleep in her bed every night. She was sent home from school early every day this week because she either threw up from stress or had panic attacks. My fiancé, Maya, and I were going to go on a 5-day ski trip, but when I heard about a bribe, I canceled the hotel and booked a last-minute trip for Maya and I to go to Disneyland and Universal Studios this week. She busted her butt this year and deserves it. My fiancé is expecting me to pay for half of the cancellation fees and for half of the activities that can't be refunded. And we got into an argument and are not speaking at the moment. I know this relationship is over, but I wanted to know if I was the a-hole. Not the a-hole. I see what he was trying to do, but this is obviously not the way. He messed up all the progress Maya achieved via therapy and hurt her more than helped her. Actually, what does your fiancé expect her to do if she gets to good school? If she cannot handle stress from high school, why would you stress her even more with very demanding uni? It's all messed up. I'm glad you stick up for your daughter, enjoy the trip, and have awesome mother-daughter experience. I hope you said a girl will start at the community college for 2 years. That is actually a smart way to do it. Much cheaper as well. Much better for a student who needs support and struggles with anxiety issues she's still getting under control too. Not stay home. Your fiancé manipulated your 16-year-old daughter behind your back. Even if he truly believed that getting her to improve her grades was for her own good, it's totally inappropriate to have gone about it in this manner. And of course, you had very good reasons for your parenting decisions, as we can see from her suffering now. Furthermore, convincing her to keep a secret from her mother is incredibly dangerous. She's now more at risk from predators who use the same tactic. You shouldn't have canceled the ski trip. You should have simply informed him that since he arranged the trip under false pretenses, he is on his own. You will not be attending or paying for any part of it, since you now have to take care of your daughter and the mental anguish he inflicted on her. Not stay home. Your fiancé manipulated your daughter into lying to you, which seems like would never have happened to begin with if it weren't for him. He set a precedent in his relationship with her that it would be okay to do something behind your back, as long as the outcome was favorable to him. He endangered her mental and physical health for his faulty ideology that going to a standard 4-year good college is the only way to become successful in life. If this ploy would have been successful, what would have been the next thing he felt he needed to correct in your parenting behind your back? I wanted to say you should pay the fees, but the more I think about it, the more I feel it should be payment for him manipulating everyone.
I was arrested for a crime I didn't do, based on false evidence. Charges were dropped, but my pets died while I was in jail, and I've been unemployed over a year as a result. Is there any recourse? A little over a year ago, the police rang my doorbell at 2 in the morning and arrested me when I answered the door. I got to jail around 3 a.m. and stayed in the waiting area until 10 p.m. that night. I had no food that entire day. I was then moved into a jail cell where I was held for 2 days. I finally got to see a judge who informed me that I was arrested for sexually assaulting someone. I also got to see a social worker that day who helped me call a bail bondsman. We got that sorted out, but it took another 1.5 days for me to get released. I was in jail for a total of 5 days. Apparently, the reason I was in jail for so long and things moved so slowly is that the jail has a policy of only moving inmates in certain minimum group sizes. Crime was so slow that they weren't hitting the group sizes for a long time. That's why I sat in the waiting room all day, and why it took 4 days to get to a judge and be released. When I got home, I found my 2 cats dead. I think they died of dehydration. I was also fired from my job because my arrest was publicized. I hired a criminal defense lawyer. What we discovered is that the victim of this crime gave 3 totally different descriptions to the police when she called 911, the next day when she talked to an investigator, and a few days later when she remembered the details about me. Each description of the person and the car they drove was completely different. Ultimately, the case got dropped because I had a very strong alibi. My security cameras showed me and my car at home while the crime occurred. It's been 16 months, and I still haven't been able to get a job because the news articles about my arrest are still at the top of my Google search results. I paid my lawyer to get my arrest record cleaned up, so I think I have a clean background check, or at least will at some point soon, but I still can't even get a company to interview me due to the news articles. I spoke to my lawyer to see if I have any legal recourse for any of this. To me, it seems like incompetent detective work led to my life being destroyed. My pets are dead. My career has been destroyed. I'm unemployed. I'm publicly humiliated. My attorney says there is nobody to sue here. Apparently, this is how the justice system is supposed to operate. There was evidence from a victim. The police followed up with an arrest, and charges were dropped once they realized it was a mistake. Everything else that has happened is apparently just an accepted consequence. Apparently, it's also normal for victims of traumatic crimes to have memory issues and accuse random people after the crime occurs. Something about trauma causing false memories to be generated. Is this right? Do I have any recourse here? It feels like my life has been ruined, and I'm supposed to just accept it. Location: Texas. Now for the advice. The police have immunity, so there is no recourse there. Some mugshot sites let you pay to have the picture removed, so you can try that, and you can also pay to expunge the arrest and court record. Aside from that, all you can do is explain the situation to potential employers if it comes up on background checks. And as a more extreme measure, you can change your name to dodge the Google search results. Individual police officers have immunity. The police department or city does not. Even if the officers had acted appropriately in regards to his pets, the career issue is really the news article. Even if he has his record cleaned up, that's outside of what the courts can do. But as long as they reported the facts, arrested for X, I mean, it's the truth. Even if the court of public opinion says that means guilty, the news article itself doesn't. Could he ask them to take it down? Sure, but they legally wouldn't have to. It's not fair that people make the assumption they do, but who here actually is acting in bad faith? Again, in regards to his career and criminal record besides the company's. You can't force them to give someone an interview. It's not right. It's not fair. But what can you actually do besides request, not demand, the arrested for video or article get edited or removed? Do you know the victim? Did police come to you based on your name being given to them? Just a physical description of you? I would imagine there's some sort of misconduct on each entity that participated in the events. That's a crappy situation all around. And I hate that not only someone was assaulted and the assailant wasn't found, but that now your life is impacted because of it. No, I don't know how this lady got my information. She reported my license plate number to the police a few days after the crime and picked me out of a photo lineup, although that's shoddy too. My best guess is that a few days after the crime, I went to a restaurant in the area of town where she lives. I've been assuming she somehow combined a memory of seeing me that evening near the restaurant with the evening when her attack happened. It was a few blocks from that restaurant. My lawyer actually pursued the path that this might have been something vindictive. We hired a private investigator to look into her, and they didn't find anything. Honestly, I've heard some of the recordings of her talking to the police and investigators. She seems completely traumatized, broken, and genuine. That's absolutely heartbreaking. Though your lawyer said there's not anyone you can go after, that may not be completely true, as they are likely someone who specializes in criminal law and may not know all the workings of civil cases. Check out any locally known auto injury, wrongful death, workers' comp, etc. attorneys, and contact them. You may have more options than you know. Plus, some of the better-known attorneys won't charge you up front and will just take a percentage if the responding party settles or the judge rules in your favor. While at this point in time your name may be tarnished, your life will continue. Just keep trying to find work, and if the subject of your case comes up, take the time to explain it to them if they'll hear it. Give them proof of the outcome of the case, and show them that there was no conviction. Worst case scenario, you may have a period where you have to work construction or in the restaurant industry. I'm unsure of Texas laws, but in Missouri, the "have you been charged with, convicted, pled guilty to" questions go back 7 years. Also, keep an eye on smaller businesses who are hiring, as they are less likely to have rules and regulations that many corporations have, which are unfriendly towards people who have been in the legal system. Next story. Ex-girlfriend attempted suicide, died for a couple of minutes. I brought her back with CPR. Then she filed a TRO against me. I defended myself in court and won without a lawyer. I'm a 30-year-old guy from Mexico. I lived in Atlanta for a while and opened a small Brazilian bar. I speak Portuguese, and most of my friends are Brazilian. I met this girl from Portugal, and we started dating. A few months in, she fought with her roommate when the lease ended. She had nowhere to go, so I let her move in with me. I was living alone with my dog in a 3-bedroom place. Later, her family came from Portugal, and I even let them stay too. Things were good. We even started a cleaning company that was doing really well. We rented a bigger place together. She was great, except she sometimes drank too much. The lease was under my name since I had the papers. The day we moved in, we had a dumb fight. Don't even remember why. Fights kept happening, so eventually, we agreed to break up, but keep the business 50-50 and live together until the lease ended. One night, her mom knocked on my door, saying my ex was acting weird. I checked, and she was just drunk and half asleep. We even joked a little, and I told her mom to let her rest. The next day around 8 p.m., I heard her weakly calling my name. I went to her room and she was vomiting. I thought it was a hangover, but when she looked at me, she was pale, lips blue, barely talking. She pointed at the bed, half-empty bottle of Tylenol and pills scattered. She had overdosed. I called 911 and checked her pulse. While on the phone, she stopped breathing. Pure panic. I started CPR. Paramedics showed up and took her away. She survived but spent 10 days in the hospital and 10 more in a psych hospital. She was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. During that time, she didn't want me to leave her side. After she came home, she even slept in my room again because she didn't want to be alone. For about a week, things felt normal, then chaos again. What really messed me up, though, was what happened that night. Watching her literally die in my arms messed with my head. After she got out of the hospital, I couldn't eat and dropped almost 15 kilograms, about 30 pounds, because I just never felt hungry. I couldn't sleep more than 2 hours a night. Every time I closed my eyes, I'd see her face turning blue. Later, I realized it was PTSD, but at the time, I just thought I was falling apart. She started seeing someone else almost immediately. Whatever, we were done. But one day she barged into my room telling me she was renting my room and I needed to move out. I laughed and kicked her out of my room. The lease had all our names anyway. A week later, I was eating breakfast when 6 sheriffs banged on the door with guns out. She had filed a restraining order against me, saying I threatened and hit her. They escorted me out with only my dog. No wallet, no cash, no clothes. For 2 weeks until court, I lived in my Camaro with my dog. I showered at the gym and used quick-trip bathrooms. I tried to get pro bono help, but nobody took it. One night, cops woke me up after someone reported me. I explained my situation, and one of them said, "Wait, do you live in that house with the X cars outside?" Turns out they were the same cops from the night I did CPR. They couldn't believe it. They gave me the report number and their names and said they'd testify if needed. Court day came. She had her family, 3 friends, and a lawyer. I had just me LOL. I was nervous as heck and thought I was screwed. But in the end, the judge didn't believe a word of her lies. The judge even warned her not to use the court system for revenge again, or she could face charges. I walked out relieved, but when I got back home, my room was emptied. Cash, cards, passport, visa, gone. My flight back to Mexico was in a couple of days anyway, so I ended the lease, paid the penalty, donated my stuff, left my car outside, and went back to Mexico. What a nightmare. Everything was fine except she sometimes drank too much. Red flag number 1. Either they address it or it escalates. Sorry you learned that in a real hard way. Hope things are going better for you now. Totally agree. Trying to play superhero and save everyone isn't for me anymore. My little adventure of starting a business in the US is over, but I gained a lot of experience from it. Right now, I'm finishing my master's in software development and things are going great here in Mexico. Thanks for reading. That just sucks. The justice system in the US is top-notch, right? Honestly, I'd say it's 50-50. The justice system in the US is incredibly good, in the sense that I didn't run into corruption or anything like that. In Mexico, I probably would have been jailed right away on an accusation like this without anyone needing proof. But at the same time, the fact that they kicked me out of my own house with no real evidence definitely leaves a lot to be desired. Should have delayed going back to Mexico for a couple of days and gotten her in trouble for stealing your visa, passport, and cards. Oh, believe me, I wanted to. Retaliation was the only thing on my mind, but time wasn't on my side. No cash, no cards other than Apple Pay, and my stay in the US was about to expire in just a few days, so leaving the country was urgent. I still have all the information about her and her family, so maybe at some point I'll come up with something, though I'm not sure if I'll have the stomach to actually go through with it, haha. Last story, falsely accused and it's ruining my mental health. I need to talk. I just need to tell someone. I'm feeling extremely suicidal and just really would like to be heard. A girl I hooked up with from Tinder reported me for a rape that never occurred a few years ago. I found out last week. I found out she filed a report years ago because my social media is now being issued warrants by my local court. They don't know my identity, which is why I'm assuming they're going to crazy lengths. I came to this country as a preteen with nothing, poverty, disabled brother I take care of, I had to drop out of college to support my siblings and eventually found my way in life. I've built something good for myself. It's now all threatened by a hookup I had. Luckily, I recorded the encounter with consent. She tried to pressure me into dating her after she found out I was well off, and I kept rejecting her. I ended up blocking her. Although I haven't been asked for a statement yet, I know it's a matter of time before they unveil my identity and either go straight for my throat with trial or ask for a statement. I doubt they'd be wasting all this time for just a statement. The scary part was, there were multiple people in the house when we did the deed. They could have easily all given statements that I violated her after the videos stopped. I'm terrified. I didn't rape her. It was consensual. I'm terrified of my evidence not being enough. I'm terrified of going to jail and leaving my disabled brother to fend for himself and leaving my elderly mother alone. I'm terrified of losing the girl I'm currently in a serious relationship with. I'm terrified of it all. I never violated anyone. I just didn't want to date her. I made it very clear before meeting. I'm scared. I haven't slept in days. I haven't eaten anything. I just had to force myself to eat something and it made me want to throw up. I feel lightheaded and nauseous. I can't help but think about ending my life. I know it's not a better option. I know it doesn't solve anything. I just don't want to feel this way. I haven't done anything in my life to deserve this false accusation. I've never hurt anyone. I've never stolen. I've never caused harm. I just didn't want to date her. I keep going over the entire 3-week connection with this woman in my head and every chat log I have saved. It looks good for me, but part of me keeps telling me it won't hold up. I'm terrified. If anyone has similar experiences in the past they can share, please do. I'm in the US. Same. I want to know what she freaking said. This stuff makes you freaking afraid of even having any contact with others. I feel betrayed. I feel freaking hopeless. I am in constant pain, on top of a current illness I'm dealing with. Why did they even convince and assume that the other person is trusted? Because it's easy to put the accused on trial, and not the accuser. Yeah, rape shield laws are BS. Weaponized justice system, that's what it is. We are here for you. Many people in this group are going through similar struggles. I also am struggling with not being able to sleep well and not feeling hungry. But if I don't eat, it is worse. So I try to make myself eat something, and I usually feel better after that. I try to take a long walk in the morning. I practice silent meditation. I take antidepressants and have for a long time. But even that couldn't prevent a major depressive episode when I got laid off a few weeks ago, 4 months before trial. Have you already hired a lawyer? If warrants or subpoenas have already been issued, then the legal process has begun. Hire a lawyer, and don't talk to any cops without first consulting with your lawyer. If you need to invoke your Fifth Amendment right, say so. I invoke my Fifth Amendment right. That is recommended, over just not saying anything at all. Try to spend time with people who care about you. If therapy is an option, that will likely help with the mental health aspect. I wish you luck and triumph. I have known of people who have had similar experiences. You need to get a really good lawyer. That's the only advice I can provide. I knew of a woman who was accused by a man of inappropriate advances. The community upheld him. Then they ruined the woman's life completely by making other false accusations. Based on the accusations, the police searched her apartment for illegal drugs. It remains to be seen whether the police will accept the planted evidence. However, they most likely will go through with some lawsuit. My friend is a beautiful, accomplished woman who has had a successful life. I think most of what has happened to her is the work of mentally ill Karens who own the police and use the same tactics against their ex-husbands. These Karens call my friend regularly and try to push her out of the community. If someone thinks Karens don't ruin lives, look no further than this case.